A little bit about Castaic Lake Water Agency. We have a number of roles in the valley, and on this map, the black dashed outline is the boundary service area of the Castaic Lake Water Agency. One of our primary roles and original roles was as a state water contracting agency, which enabled the area to have access to imported water from the state water project. We also built 2 regional filtration plants to treat that water and serve it to customers, and we have a backbone major pipeline system that delivers it through a number of turnouts to each of the 4 retail providers in the valley. Over the years, we've taken on some other roles as resource management has gotten more, I think, improved in California to look at watershed-based issues and long-range planning issues, including the urban water management planning process. So CLWA also provides the regional urban water management planning process, which actually is going on right now. There's a public hearing coming up on that next week, I believe, on the 13th. We've also worked with the purveyors over the years to plan for the potential for recycled water use, and we have a recycled water master plan update that's under process with participation from the retail entities and the county sanitation district. Also, conservation has obviously become a very big part of resource planning in California. And both due to mandates and due to the pragmatic nature that reducing demand also reduces the need to bring supply from very long distances or develop supply that costs a large amount of money. So we have regional conservation programs that are aimed at helping our customers in the valley save water. Overall, we have a population of about 280,000 within that service area. In addition to that, we also operate the Santa Clarita Water Division, which is the kind of pink shaded area on the east side of that map, and that is a retail service provider, formerly the Santa Clarita Water Company. They have 28,000 service connections, and we've been operating them for about the last 15 or 16 years. CLWA also acquired the stock of the Valencia Water Company, shown in orange at that point, with about 31,000 connections. We don't currently operate. We only own the stock at this point in time. Our goal in the future is to be able to bring that agency from a private investor-paid utility into the public domain so that it is basically owned and operated for the benefit of the customers as public, and that could be part of this process. I'll just point out the other 2 retailers. LA County Waterworks to the far west there serves an area in that canyon that's about 1,350 service connections, and then Newhall County Water District in green, kind of spread in different parts around the valley, is what Steve will talk about.
Great. Thank you, Matt. And I'd again like to thank everybody for coming tonight. This really is designed to try and get feedback and input into the process. And you'll hear that as we go through our presentation and the opportunity that we have next door. My name is Steve Cole. I'm the General Manager at Newhall County Water District. Our district, for those of you that have been around for a while, was formed in 1953. We were formed in accordance with the County Water District law. It gives us several powers, but the main one that you know us for and that we exercise is providing retail water service to the community. We have a publicly elected board of directors, 5 members that are publicly elected by the members that the customers that live inside our district boundaries get to vote for that board of directors. We have 4 distinct service areas in the valley. The first one that we were formed on in 1953 was the Newhall community. Later in the 60s, we started servicing the Pine Tree service area, basically everything to the northeast of Sand Canyon Road. Also in the 60s, we began servicing the Castaic area, everything basically north of Parker Road. And then more recently, in 2000, we started servicing the Tesoro de Val community. So we've experienced a lot of growth like the other water agencies in this area over the last 60 years. We've grown from servicing just a few thousand people in this community through a couple wells and a redwood water tank to now servicing over 45,000 people through right around 10,000 service connections. We have a very highly motivated staff of 31 employees. They're very dedicated. Any of you that have got a chance to meet them know that, and we're very proud of that. I think, if you used one term to define our agency, it'd be one of continual improvement, and that's something we're very proud of. So I don't want to take any other time. Like I said, I'm going to be next door, so feel free to come up and chat with me, and we'll continue on through the presentation. So, the main idea of what we're considering tonight is one that most of you have probably heard about by now. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be in the room. But it's the concept of forming a new water entity in this valley. And so, when you look at that, the real positive way to approach that is there a way that we could combine the best attributes of the different water agencies that are here existing in this valley today in a way that we could gain additional benefits? And I think that's really what all of us are sitting at the table and the boards are interested in considering. And we want your input into that process. We have a very, unique opportunity when we're considering this. These opportunities do not come around very often. You look at our district, we've been around for over 60 years. These types of foundational times in which we can reconsider how we provide these types of services just don't come around very often. And so I think, kudos for being in the room and trying to shape how this future is going to look like. By going through this process, is there a way that we're going to gain some efficiencies, maybe ability to stabilize rates? Is there a way to get a path forward that gets us all working together and really focusing on the future and how we deliver service in this valley? So I'll pass to Matt, and he can talk through kind of some of the stuff we've learned already through the public process.
So as you know, we had our first workshop earlier in February, and many of you were there and provided your comments and expressed your initial concern and historic perspective, and it was, I think, an open-ended time for comment. I believe we extended the time to double and sometimes triple the 3 minutes because we wanted to really hear as much as we could before we got too far into the process. And we've taken that and tried to come back with a subsequent workshop plan that reflects some of that input. First and foremost, we heard the need for transparency, some concern that we'd gotten this far down the road on this concept and we're just beginning to surface it. And I think you'll hear a couple things tonight that hopefully will help on that. One is I think the time frame to get to any ultimate decision is still fairly lengthy out there, and there's going to be some significant process along the way to allow for more input and shaping that decision. I think so that open, accessible process, I understand people come with their own opinions and points of view, and I think it's important, and I'm trying to cultivate a sense that we will listen to the points of view. We obviously have a policy board that will make a decision at some point. They're elected to do that, but I think the easy thing to do would have been to not have any meetings and not listen to public comment. And I believe that there's an effort to try to honestly do that. We heard concerns about how services might change, particularly I think at that meeting we had a pretty strong representation from Newhall customers, and I know that the Newhall contingent has been working on how to make sure that those concerns are addressed, and I think there are some provisions in what's potentially going to be proposed that would help allay some of those concerns. And I think we did hear some people asking about the efficiencies and where are they and how do we know where they are and what do the finances ultimately look like with the combined combination of the two agencies. So we do plan to address that further as we go through this process. That's a little more of a detailed study, but we are going to be working on that so that we have that prior to making any irrevocable decisions. So another thing we did was, and this hopefully addresses some of the process concerns, we have made the determination that we would, if we go forward, we would like to go through the process with the LAFCO Commission, Local Agency Formation Commission. We believe that that helps with another degree of independence and an agency that's designed and empowered by the legislature in each county to look at public service and service boundaries and related issues for public agencies. And right after this presentation, we'll have a presentation from Paul Novak from LAFCO, who's here tonight, who's the executive director. So I won't steal his thunder on that. But you will know more about LAFCO than you probably want to when he's done. I've seen his slides. I think the other thing we wanted to try to do was set some workshops. So tonight we're kind of filtering down from the very general concerns that we heard in the first workshop and try to identify 3 kind of theme areas and talk a little bit more about the process also so that that's more open and better understood. And frankly, I think we understand it better now as well. And then have follow-up workshops set for May and June, and tentatively, and it may change with some of the input tonight, but tentatively, it's finances and service in May and governance in June. I think governance is one of the big questions: is how are the people going to be represented with this new enterprise? How are they going to be effectively and fairly represented? We are available, and we have either individually or jointly scheduled presentations. So Steve and I are available to come out to any group. I think we have something scheduled with the Canyon Country group coming up in a couple of weeks. But we're available to come to your group, whether you're opposed, neutral, not sure, supportive. We're happy to come and talk and listen as well. So again, the hope is that when we get to the end of this process, at least people understand what the proposal is, and also we understand what the concerns are with the proposal. And then continuing policy discussions on just how to take the various issues that we have as 2 agencies working on this proposal together. Believe me, we have issues, but we're working on them. And I think, and the issues that we're hearing from folks in the public and the different points of interest to incorporate.